Hi, I'm Mark Burbridge and this is my Unit 29 Computer Aided Design for Construction BTEC Level 4 HNC for Guernsey College of Further Education. As part of my task, I am going to be covering D2, which is produce a narrative of the development of my site plan, providing evidence of how you have accommodated the unforeseen. The program we've had to use for our 3D drawings was Google SketchUp. SketchUp was a completely new concept to me. I'd never actually opened the program, let alone used it, before starting this course. It was something I found very difficult to pick up, but I had to persevere with, and I have actually found it beneficial in my working life and my career, as I've had to use it to plan out a plant space in a building we've been doing. The thing I started to do was to build up the 3D apartment block. This is the one I really decided to try and go into a bit of detail with, and as you can see here, I put all of the walls onto one layer, including internal and external. Now, it was something which, in hindsight, if I could go back and change, then I would. I'd then be able to turn on the external walls and show you what it looks like on the inside. But as you can see here, I've added the 3D elements, such as sofas, kitchen tables, everything like that, just to give you again another visual representation for any potential clients to see what they'd actually be buying into, to see how the space could be used. I mentioned in my 2D drawing that the staircase clashed. Now what it was, the staircase was originally meant to climb up here and then up to the mezzanine. Now to me that wasn't going to work. I actually relocated the staircase, as you can see here. The other thing I did was layer apartment furniture, doors, slab and windows, so you can turn everything off, so you're left with just the core. As you can see here from the core development, that's how I added in my Stanner lift. Now I actually spoke to Stanner and they told me that with the lift designs they are currently bringing out, you need less of a pit and less space at the top for lift motor rooms, which was beneficial to this installation in particular. Whilst developing the core area and adding in the central staircase, approved document K gave me the relevant information I needed. It told me that there was to be a maximum rise of 220mm, so from there to there, and a minimum going of 220mm, so the actual step itself. This actually applied for the same as the steps in the second floor apartments. This is how I came to judge how many steps were needed in each instance, and as you can see, it sort of worked out very well. It gave you a very large clear landing and a large clear area. As part of the development, I did have to narrow the staircase to 1 meter wide the whole way up. This then gave us enough space to be able to fit in the 8-person lift onto the first between the ground first and second floor. You can see here, this was what I mentioned in my 2D layout, the glazed return. I think that that's what I feel gave a cleaner look. The granite front, the white painted render, and then the timber around the top there. The other thing I also noticed on the 2D drawing was that this was supposed to step back at the second floor level, so the rear wall was supposed to step back. I decided against that, mainly because I think it would look better from the outside if you didn't have a separate entity. I chose the windows to be the size that I did, mainly because I've spoken to a few window manufacturers and they told me standard sill heights and generally standard window heights, even though most windows can be designed to fit any space provided. Here you can see the animation I made for my apartment block. It's basically just a quick run through of everything. If you were to issue this to planners, they'd be able to see everything from different angles, and as you can see, turn all the walls off, it shows you all the inside spaces, it shows you everything you really need to see about the apartment block. This was actually one of the elements we had to do for the task. We had to export into a different area, so social media, which is task 2. Produce this video of the 3D model and post it to social media outlets such as YouTube. Now, I'm taking this as my social media outlet and I'm going to be posting as you can see, I've shown you the video and it's going onto my YouTube page to show you. And I'll just finish showing you the rest of the video. For me, this does give you quite a lot of detail, and this is where I mean, if I could go back and start the project again and actually know the program a lot better than I do, I would have put external walls, internal walls, rather than just doing a wall layer. It would have been very difficult for me to be able to do that to go back and do it retrospectively, as it's not as easy as CAD, because you've got to pick up the wall element, all the lines for the walls and everything like that, and it just means that you may miss some might end up on the wrong layers, and it's something I'm going to have to be very aware of in future. Once I had created my detailed version of the apartment blocks, I then moved on to the terrace. Once I'd completed that, I then moved on to the commercial units and added in the Google reference for my site plan and trees, etc. to the location. This is just to give, again, the planning side of things a better visual representation of what the site would look like when it's complete. The only thing I found was that it slowed, once you did all this, it slowed the program down quite a lot. And I actually had to download SketchUp to my laptop at home, just not only so I could learn the program a bit better at home, but also so that it was a bit faster, as I found that the PCs at the college kept freezing quite a lot. I mean, you can see here it sort of takes its time to load once you've moved and rendered something, and that was emphasised more on the college computers. So what I'm going to do here is actually turn off the layers for the trees, the location snapshot, the commercial walls, and my apartment block. So we are left with our site plan and our terraced houses. I touched on it in my 2D drawings, but here you can really get a better visual representation of how the towpath is extremely close to the back gardens of all the terraced properties. This is why I've added in the fencing, just to keep it a bit private. The fencing itself isn't exactly aesthetically pleasing, but it does the best job out of everything there is that could do it. As you'll also notice, I have changed the colour schemes compared to our handout for the assignment. This is because it then fits in better with how the apartment blocks are going to look, so you keep all the residential buildings looking fairly similar on the same plot of land, which to me just makes better sense as a site plan itself. As with the 2D drawing, I tended to keep the site plan for the commercial unit as it was, and I'm just going to turn the terrace units off here and turn on the commercial walls. Now, there you can see the brickwork, the metalwork, metal cladding, flat roof, back to it, and this is the glazing I was on about, which I thought was going to be best utilised as advertising for whatever company's in there. Here you see metal sliding doors and a glazed facade. This is all as was on our handout. Again, I felt that this really fell in well. The only thing I did is it said painted render, so I made sure it was white, so everything, the brickwork, the white painted render, all fitted in with the site plan as a whole. As you can see here, I created a site plan video. It just took us through the site plan and the different areas. I thought it was quite nice adding the trees and the greenery in. It really gave you that look that you were going for, and it really made you feel like it was an actual property and a development that was going to happen. As I already mentioned, this program started off as a bit of a struggle for me to use. If I could go back and start again, there would be things I would do differently from what I've learned whilst using the program. I found that the lack of commands that you have in AutoCAD was what really affected me. I know my way around AutoCAD. I know that trim is TR, rotate is RO, enter, things like that, whereas I couldn't do that with this, and it really sort of hindered my progress. Had I known how to utilize these functions properly and the layers properly, I would have shaved a lot more time off this assignment. Although, as I have mentioned, I have found it difficult, I did use this in my everyday working life. It came in handy, and the skills I'd learned really did start to show. I started to realise that your you had a copy select function. It was just awkward ways of getting around these different things. So I was able to create the plan and get it sent out to the installers and get it sent out to be priced, and it just all worked out a lot better than if I'd have tried to done it in AutoCAD 2D. I could rotate, I could show them. I sent a little video. I exported the drawings by going 2D graphic, and I just sent it out like that. It wasn't an official drawing issue, so what it was to give the information to the people who were pricing the job to know how they were going to get everything in, how the spaces were working, the duct sizes, etc. That concludes the 3D section of this assignment brief. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Goodbye.